أهلا وسهلا. I don't know if you can you hear me, Firas? Add to the stream. أهلا وسهلا بالأستاذ فراس. How you doing, Firas?
الحمد لله. كيف الحال؟
Alhamdulillah. I know you have a busy schedule, and we do appreciate the time you've given us here today.
Absolutely.
So we are on live on Facebook, and we are also live on TikTok. I think people who want to know about Firas, I put all the info in the bio. So by all means, if anybody has any questions about my friend Firas, you can read so much about him. But he's a very active Muslim Canadian member. For the last 20 years, he's been doing a lot of community works, and I think everything in the bio. But I want to jump right into the topics, but I just want to give you the first 30 seconds if you want to say anything so we can move on with our discussion tonight.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure, Sam, to discuss critical issues with you. And I know we appear when it's really hot and critical. So let's get right to it.
So this is a really hot one, and it's I know you're very well educated on the topics. Maybe I'm new to this. I'm not as much as you are. I mean, you're a father with, and you're also an active member, and you're imam as far as I know, and you started a lot of organization as well. So let's talk about. I'm going to start with these questions. Why this year specifically we have a lot of so-called a lot of Muslim community actions started with the Pride Month or prior to the Pride Month, and was very clear in with the Pride Month, especially when there was a call to boycott the school on June 1st. So why this year than the rest of the years? And would you please enlighten me first and my audience?
Absolutely. I guess because the pressure reached an unbearable level, and there were a lot of boundaries that were crossed this year. It actually started last year, in the end of May of last year, in Halton District School Board in Oakville, in particular. Some schools celebrating the anti-homophobia day and anti-transphobia day, they posted all throughout the school, they had posters portraying Muslim women as homosexuals and Muslim men as homosexuals. That did not fall well with the Muslim students. They protested. It was a big protest, and they forced the school to bring down the posters. Prior to getting to that level of protest, they initiated discussions with the teachers and the principals, and they did not respect their opinion. They humiliated some of them. They showed some aggressiveness that they were not used to it. However, they protested. It was big. It echoed all over the GTA, and they had to take the posters down. So I would want to say that initiated a new phase of dealing with this issue. On the school's part, it was an extra pressure, extra aggressiveness, if you will, in imposing certain ideas. And on the student side and the parents' side, they became more alert. So that's one factor. Second factor is we started hearing a lot of violation of students' rights, not just Muslims or students of faith, but in particular Muslims, because there is, whether we like it or not, we have a lot of proofs to show that there's a target on Muslim students when they bring specific speakers to address Muslim students and tell them, contrary to their belief, that they can be, for example, Muslim and gay. Islam doesn't approve of this. And you have principles talking about it. You have posters suggesting the same thing. So that's the second factor, the aggressiveness in targeting Muslim students in particular. The incidents, the one we have in Edmonton that got really famous. There were other reports, but unfortunately none recorded. But yeah, we have incidents of humiliation of Muslim students. And there's one important factor, which is the navigating differences, the statement of Muslim scholars in North America, that also empowered the Muslim parents to stand up and say, here's the stance of Islam on gender and sexuality. It's clear, it's haram, it's prohibited. This is what our religion says, and we have the constitutional right to adhere to our creed. Put all this together, I think it kind of put us in a different phase now in dealing with this issue.
Okay. Fair enough. Definitely, I want to advise, or I want to invite anybody to comment or ask my guests any questions. Any respectful questions will be asked, and please keep the conversation as civil as possible. I know there's a lot of angers out there, and there's a lot of people who agree with this, I disagree with this, they see it this angle, see it the other angle. We are here to discuss the topic from all the sides, because in the end, as Canadian, I think we have interest collectively to live all in peace, and also to make sure every Canadian has equal right. And I think we both agree on that, Firas.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to say one thing, because it seems to me like there's overlapping between I mean, this issue is, in a way, it sounds like it's a Muslim Canadian issue, but it's not. There's a lot of parents who have a concern, whether they share it in the same way or the same level or less. But to be more specific, are we talking here about the issue, Muslim issues? Are we talking about parents' issues? Or are we talking about, anyway, political issue? Because I think there's overlapping between the three.
I remember in in 2015, I was part of the Canadian Family Alliance that included all people of faith.
Okay.
And we had a meeting with the Premier of Ontario when we protested the new sex education back then. Her first attack on us was, this is a political agenda. This is definitely has nothing to do with politics. Calling this a political agenda is exactly like insisting on calling Muslims terrorists if they want to defend their rights. It's the same story, right? So definitely reject that claim that it's political, because we're talking about parents and rights of parents that are being extremely violated. And I think that kind of touched a lot of parents this year, because schools were very clear on offering students certain solutions and without parental consent. So this is a direct attack on parents. When there's direct attack on parents, parents have the right to stand up, and they have the right to say, we're defending parental rights. We're not talking about any political affiliations here or political agendas. So definitely has nothing to do with politics. And definitely it's not just Muslims, it's all people of faith or people of values that their values does not include the gender theory. Whether we like it or not, there are a lot of people out there that do not believe in gender theory. And guess what? The Supreme Court of Canada said it clearly. Respect is not based on the fact that the presented idea is the truth. Meaning, I respect people's choice. I just don't have to believe it's the truth. And I don't have to say it's the truth. I believe my creed. I believe my book. I believe my religion. And I respect people's choice. So it's about people of faith. It's about the freedom of religion. It's about the right to follow one's creed. Has nothing to do with politics.
Okay. So do you, I mean, again, because somebody said that to me, make sure your answer is not like rounded, so it's not like a tricky, and I don't mean to trick you in any way, because I think you're more seasoned enough, and I can learn from you a lot of how to debate and how to interview and all the stuff. So definitely, we're not here to trick anybody. We just want to ask questions that so-called hard questions. Do you think this is where we see it, is this is my right, this is my faith, and this is my views and my creed as parents, as a Muslims as well. tell me from your perspective as a Muslim Canadian, okay? We all live under the Charter of Rights, so we all equal under the laws. True?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you think the LGBTQ Canadians, do they have, first, the same laws that protect us as a Muslims? Are we all equal in terms of minorities, or in terms of we have our own struggle as, I would call it, oppressed society? I mean, I'm talking about as a Muslim community. I feel like there's a lot of things out there for us, but I'm learning more about the LGBTQ, and I'm not comparing the two, but I just want to see we're all in the eye of majority, or we're minority. First, in your opinion, do you see that as a minority issues, or you see this is just like or this is you can't compare the two and put them on the same level in terms of rights as citizens?
Well, first of all, my opinion doesn't really matter in this discussion. We're talking facts. The LGBTQ community is a community, is a Canadian minority, which means as Canadian citizens, they enjoy the same rights as everybody else.
Yeah.
And this is not subjected to my opinion or anybody else's opinion. Every Canadian citizen, irrespective of their race, ethnicity, belief, culture, and as it says in the Constitution, definitely gender, sexual orientation. This is clearly defined by the Constitution. No one has the right to come and say, let's exclude this group or that group. No, we're all, as you said, we're all living under the same Constitution and enjoying the same rights. Absolutely.
Okay, but so what's going on now in part of Canada, or in some, not all Canada? Obviously, I think the debate is getting the heat is it's coming on and on. Maybe there's more in the U.S. than here in Canada, but we start to feel the heat of the debate. So you don't think there is some kind of I don't want to say a conflict, but there's some kind of different views on how the Pride Month should be introduced in schools from the Muslims' perspective versus I mean, I would say, I don't know about the other community, but I'm talking specifically about the LGBTQ, and I'm not here to defend the LGBTQs because they have their own way to defend themselves. But I really, as a Canadian Muslims, I have an interest to protect the interests of my community, which is I belong to and I'm proud of, from anything that from any misunderstanding / from any oppressions might taking place wrongly by a lot of emotions that coming from our side, I should say. So do you think there is any contradictions or there's any conflict between the interests of the two groups?
I think that we're missing a point here. The victims in this equation are the Muslim students. Muslim students are being compelled to abandon their belief, which is against the Supreme Court of Canada's decision. Muslim students are being fed false information, for example, that you can be Muslim and gay, and that's false information. Islam says no. Muslim students are being forced to participate, promote, celebrate a theory or an idea or a lifestyle that very the fact that Islam does not approve of. Islam is very clear when it comes to sexuality and gender. In Islam, there's only male and female. Gender theory, as it was introduced a couple of years ago, is not approved by Islam and will not be accepted by Islam, period. Islam has certain teachings on this, certain principles that will never change. The fact that Islam and Islam's teachings does not believe that this theory is true is actually 100% compliant with the laws and with the human rights policy. Because as I said, and I repeat it again, respect, it should not be based on the fact that the presented idea is the truth.
Okay.
This is the beautiful law that we live under. So Islam, consequently Muslims, respect, but they don't believe it's true, simply because Islam doesn't believe it's true. Islam has a different opinion. And
Yeah.
under the Section 2 in the Charter of Rights, we're all entitled for freedom of opinion. Does that mean I reject and I become hostile? No, it doesn't. We need to be very subjective. We need to be very rational in not to get emotional about this.
Right.
But in reality, it's Muslims and people of faith that are under attack right now. It is people of faith that are forced to believe ideas and theories contrary to their belief. So I honestly don't see. I think what you're alluding to here is anybody denying the LGBTQ community of their rights? I honestly don't think this is the discussion, because, for example, we see that schools are privileging, and I'm gonna say it very honestly and very openly. You get a full month of special treatment. You get flags flying. You got throughout the whole year focus on their rights, which seems to me and seems to many students and many parents that there's an imbalanced presentation. There's a privilege to one group over another. And all what we're asking for, this is not an attack. This is a call for neutrality when it comes to school. It's a call for balanced approach, respect for all, respect for people's choices. However, not to allow any group to impose their ideas, their theories, their creed, their belief on others.
Okay. I have to admit, this is the first time I hear the word gender theories. So I'm not really sure. And I'm again, I heard gender's right, gender equality, and you say gender theory. So educate me, please. What exactly you mean by gender theory versus gender's equality, as I hear it from the Canadian media?
No, they say the gender theory. Gender theory, what is gender theory? That's been the gender theory that separates gender from sex, from birth assigned sex to self-identification and socially constructed gender. So this is called the gender theory. Gender theory, as it was recently introduced, separates biological sex from self-identification. The concept of self-identification, because when you ask a person, your chromosomes, there's only two, XX and XY.
Okay.
They haven't found any third chromosome. However, the theory says, no, people could self-identify. Now that theory is, what's this whole discussion is all about. People believe they can self-identify, and they are free to believe whatever they want to believe. Absolutely. However, on the other hand, there are people that do not believe that they can self-identify. For example, we've been hearing a lot about self-identified Muslims. What does that mean? Self-identified Muslims are a group of people that say, well, I want to be a Muslim, but I don't want to follow Islam's principles. It exists. It's out there, right? So we come and tell them it doesn't make sense. You cannot choose to self-identify as Muslim without fulfilling the prerequisites to become a Muslim, which is adhering to the teachings of Islam. And I will use the exact same example I used in one of the meetings with politicians. And I tell you, there are a lot of people on earth that would love to self-identify as Canadians. Would that entitle them to have a Canadian citizenship and a Canadian passport? No. They have to go through the process. They have to go through immigration. They have to write the test. They have to fulfill requirements, adhere to the Canadian laws and regulations. Then they become Canadian. Exact same concept when it comes to Islam. You cannot self-identify as Muslim. You're free to choose it, but you have to adhere to the rules and regulations of Islam to be called a Muslim. And part of these rules and regulations is gender theory does not exist in Islam. This is just the way it is, and we can't change it. That's the way it's been for 1500 years. So here we say gender theory is what I just explained. People are free to believe in it, but some people don't.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Firas. And help me out also to make sure this is clear for my the people who's listening to us. You talk when you say Muslims, Muslim this, Islam this, and all this stuff, as if there's ijma about this topic. So is it politically correct to say all Muslims that feel I think this way, or this is
Yes.
my view or your view?
There is an absolute consensus and ijma' among Muslims that follow the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's an absolute consensus. There is no loopholes. There's absolutely no disputes that gender theory is not accepted by Islam.
Okay, so religiously speaking, according to what I hear from you, there's ijma from the Muslim scholars. So this is ijma. There's not like this one side or two side or
absolutely
whatever.
Not.
Gender theory is not acceptable in Islam.
It's not accepted in Islam. Gender theory that suggests there are multiple genders. Islam, Al-Quran says in the Holy Quran,
yes,
it says Allah created male and female and no third to these two pairs or two choices.
Okay, so now we live in a country that we have people who feels this is they disagree with me and you on this beliefs. As you said, as a Muslims, and it's clear, as a Muslims, that's what we believe in. That's what the Quran says. But as civil obedience to the law of the land, we have to listen and see what other people see in it, as long as that doesn't interfere or doesn't contradict with our beliefs as a Muslim. Are we in agreement here?
I just cited the Supreme Court of Canada's decision. We respect, but we don't have to believe that it's true. This is the Supreme Court of Canada. So when you say under the law, you just kind of passed false idea that the law is telling us we have to believe in gender theory. No, it doesn't. The law says we have
to live together. That's all.
Sorry?
Law says you have to live together and you have to respect.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We respect people's choice. We're not obligated to believe that it's true. Give you an example. In Ramadan, and we've been hearing this example. Students or schools, for example, allow Muslims to talk about themselves fasting and their fasting, and does that entail Muslims forcing other students to stop eating and believe is the right thing to do? No. They respect that Muslim students are fasting. They don't have to participate in fasting. They respect that Muslim students are praying. They don't have to participate in praying. So respect does not entail believing or participating or promoting or becoming part of it. So I hope that this is clear. There's a difference between respect and believing that it's true.
Okay, I think we both agree on that. Respect is something we all do. Respect everyone else as a human being, as a citizen. To believe in the values, or my value, your values, or their values, or
something different.
It's something different. So, and as I said, I've been doing a lot of questionings, reading, and educating myself about the topic, because I see how much a lot of people really charge emotionally with this. So from both sides. What I mean by both sides is the people who see it the way Muslim sees it, or the way the other people who believe the opposite way think about it. So I hear this. LGBTQ, it's a human rights issue. It has nothing to do with faith. So what's your view on this when we say, as a Muslims, we don't accept this and we don't believe in this? We have a mandatory, we have a clear cut position of Islam on this topic. but the other side say, okay, this is not a faith issue, this is a human rights issue.
Well, the human rights policy says you have to respect, but you don't have to believe. I'm quoting from the creed-based discrimination policy that says what I just said. The human rights policy says you should respect, but you don't have to believe.
Okay.
But there's a misunderstanding, by the way, out there, and this has been used. This has been used by a lot of schools, saying, "Well, this is about human rights." Yeah, it is about human rights, and I agree, and I accept the human rights as the arbitrator between us. What do they say? They say respect, but you don't have to believe, and that's what we're doing. So we're in complete compliance to the human rights policy. We're in 100% compliance to the Canadian Supreme Court or Supreme Court of Canada's decision. We respect, but we don't have to believe.
So can we say, when we say we respect, but we don't have to believe, it's like equal to somebody who are not a Muslim, but sees that what's going on against Islamophobia, and see how there's discrimination against Muslims taking place. So they go out there and defend Muslims Canadian, not because they believe in Islam, but they believe in the
they
value.
believe in their right to existence. Absolutely. Do we require anybody who wants to support us to come and pray with us and start, worshiping like us? No, we don't. Do we tell them you have to take the Shahada before you work with me? No, we don't. No, we deal with each other as citizens, respect each other's choices, and that's it. We don't have to believe in each other's beliefs. This is what we're trying to say. Let's separate between belief, between creed, and between respect. I think these two are getting mixed a lot in recently, and this is why a lot of people are getting angry about it. Is you're asking me to respect, or you're asking me to change my belief? Belief is protected, and by the way, gender is protected under human rights, and religious rights are also protected under human rights. They're equally protected at the same level. So right to believe and gender theory, it's a belief. Now go ask anybody when you, and just reason it. When he says self-identified, what does that mean? What is it based on? Belief. Belief. I feel such, or I believe that I am. It's a belief. So you can't force your belief on me, and I can't force your belief on you. And this is the beauty of the Canadian society. We respect each other despite of our differences in our beliefs. We don't force our beliefs on each other, and this is, I guess, the what needs to be clarified.
I think we can go on in this because, as I said, I don't think there's enough debate of this issue or talk about it, especially when we're trying to bring a lot of people into the conversation, not only Muslims to it. Firas, and I hear this again from people around me or people I talk to, is, okay, I supported your cause. Now your cause is contradict with my cause. So I fought for you. Now you're fighting against me. And I'm sorry if this is not politically correct in terms of the language wise, but this is the whole idea is there's a lot of people who believe in the Muslims' right to exist, the Muslim Canadian to practice their faith, to be protected, the hijab, all that stuff. We know there's a lot of supporter for the Muslim community in Canada. There are not Muslims. And it happens also a lot of LGBTQ in the past, they were supportive of the Muslims struggle in this country from the perspective of this is an oppressed community, these are a minority community, and we have to stand with them. So what do you say to those people from the LGBTQ specifically about the one who feel like we did a lot of work when you needed, we support you when you needed support, and now we feel like you're the one who are going against us? And that doesn't, we don't have to agree this is that's happening, but I do know there's some people who feel this way, and I want words from you to talk to somebody or those people who feel this way in this country now.
To be honest with you, I don't think this is general or this is necessarily the truth.
Okay.
We know that the human rights policy also talks about competing rights. Okay. And it also says there's no absolute right. I'm not going to run away from your question. You're saying, what do you tell people that supported the Muslim community and they feel betrayed by the Muslim community? And why do they feel betrayed by the Muslim community? Again, does respecting people's choice necessarily means that we have to believe that they're right? I don't. The question is invalid. What does it mean for me to support? What does it mean for you to support me? You supported me. Did you convert into Islam? Did you become a Muslim? No. Did I ask you to convert into Islam? No. You said we support the Muslim community as a minority and we believe they should have rights. And I just said it in front of you. All Canadians should have rights. I just said it.
Okay.
I mean, is that, if that's considered support, then I'm saying all Canadians are entitled to their rights under the Constitution. All Canadians. I am in no position to discriminate between Canadians when it comes to their right. However, there's still a confusion between respecting people's rights and enforcing beliefs on others. So if someone would come and tell me, we supported you, why aren't you supporting me? Did you convert to Islam? Did I ask you to convert to Islam? No. So what is the support that you're looking for? So this is my answer to this.
Okay. Fair enough. Now, if they, do you think there's like enforcement, or there's really literally somebody trying to force this on us as a Muslims, or we have a choice to say no, whether in school or outside the school? The whole conversation is about school, but till this minute we didn't talk about school because we're trying to put the whole conversation in the bigger frame. So as a Muslims, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, do you feel where we live here in Canada, there is a system that forcing us as Muslims to believe in that, or we have a choice to say yes or no, or I want my kids to be there or not? I'm going to talk about school later, but I just want to clarify this. Is there anybody forcing us to do anything that against our beliefs? Forcing, and I'm saying is just forcing is different than exposing us to a new idea that we reject strongly.
The word force is very loose, meaning, is anybody holding a gun to anybody's head to ask them to do things against their religion? No.
Okay.
Is anybody putting pressure on students to believe in ideas against their religion? Yes. Okay. Is anybody overexposing? And I tell you an example. Schools are inviting speakers, self-identified Muslims, claiming to be gay Muslims, telling Muslim students, you can be gay and Muslim, and Islam has no problem with it. Would you call that forcing? I would say when it's repetitive, when it's targeting a certain faith, which is Muslims in this case, when it is putting social pressure, peer pressure, yes, it will rise to the level of compulsion. And the word is compulsion. And the Supreme Court of Canada said students have to be free of compulsion. So yes, there is compulsion by targeting Muslim students with certain topics, certain activities, certain speakers, pushing them and spreading false information about Islam. When the school comes and say you can be gay and Muslim, I mean, who is the school to say this, to speak on behalf of Islam? So is there compulsion? Yes, there is compulsion on Muslim students, and we have a lot of cases, a lot of proofs that there is compulsion on Muslim students.
And did you yourself investigate those again?
Oh yeah. I meet with students every week, Sam. Every week. I just had a session yesterday. Every Thursday, I meet with students at our center, and we listen to them, and we support them. They feel pressured. Students feel pressured. There's huge mental health issue of students feeling humiliated, belittled, rejected. They feel hesitation. They feel doubts in everything. So this is serious.
did you try to reach out to any of those schools that for these kids that we're talking about?
I've been reaching out to schools for more than 10 years.
No,
I've
I'm
had
saying
numerous meetings.
recently.
Recently, I had numerous meetings with the school board, the human rights advisors discussing this. I had meetings with principals. Trust me, we've gone all the way in trying to explain to teachers and to principals and to officials that what's happening in schools amount to indoctrination and compulsion. They try to come back at us and say, well, human rights code says cognitive dissonance is allowed. Cognitive dissonance meaning the court made a decision on a case in Quebec in regards to information presentation, meaning school in a multicultural society has to talk about everybody. You have to talk about the LGBT community, about the Muslim community, about the Black community, about the indigenous people, about everybody. So the flow of information, the presentation of information, no one has the right to block. And that we understand really well. However, it goes on to say, however, you cannot compel others to believe in it. Again, cognitive dissonance is innocent presentation, balanced presentation of information for everybody, but do not force anybody to accept any of the ideas.
I think I want to take a few questions. I'm going to finish the first part of the conversation because I want to move into the parents' right and also what's going on in the schools and the protests and all the stuff. And then we conclude to really the way forward. If you have time, I don't know if you have a limited time or you're just, you're enjoying being in the car, enjoying the beautiful.
Always.
So I know you had a busy day and really appreciate
I actually had a presentation an hour and a half away, and I was hoping to make it home, but here at least we're live with you. That's the most important thing.
I'm gonna place a call for like a really nice juicy meal for you. So when you go home, you're gonna find out how to really. So let's go with this question from Hania. I think this is a lady from Edmonton. As far as I can, okay. So thank you, Firas. They say here the question is right in front of you. If you want to just read it, and
because they want to save some children from abuse. They say that children know themselves as okay at early years, and I know it's not right developmentally. Okay, so this goes back to the gender theory. For the respected sister Hania. Yes, what you're talking about is the gender theory. And again, gender theory is a belief. Okay. It is a belief. It's based on feelings. Do I, as a Muslim or anybody else, am I obligated, mandated, required by law to believe that it's true? The law says no. The Supreme Court of Canada says you have to respect, but not necessarily believe that it's the truth. So again, I'm replying with the Supreme Court of Canada's decision. We have to respect that people believe this way or believe this theory, but I don't have to believe it. And if I don't have to believe it, by the way, also based on the Supreme Court of Canada's decision, I have the right to pass on my belief to my children. Right. And this is important. This is the link. Because I learned my religion as an adult, and I explain it to my kids. I have the right to pass on my religion to my kids, which means my kids have the right to believe the same thing. So it's a clear answer.
Wonderful. And Amir or Amir, Amar, we do not believe in the theory of evolutions as it applied to humans. Okay, and I'll leave
very
it
good.
So we believe
very good. Absolutely, we are also taught. Absolutely, it's excellent parallels. Absolutely. So theory of evolution. Some people they religiously believe in the theory of evolution. We don't believe in it, and there are other beliefs. Some people believe in Santa. We don't believe in Santa. Is there a problem? Does anybody, feel threatened or feel belittled because we don't believe in Santa Claus, for example? I'm just using an example. No. So people are free to believe whatever they want. We respect people believing.
So I think what he's saying is, do you think a student should leave when the subject is being taught?
Leaving is leaving is a form of respectful expression of their position. And let me tell you something. Going back to the Supreme Court of Canada's decision, it says people have the right to hold and manifest their creed. What does hold and manifest mean? Hold, believe in it in your heart. Manifest is exhibiting, showing, living it, right? And students have the right to express and transmit their religion. This transmission and expression means if I don't believe in an idea and it contradicts my belief, I have the right to peacefully walk away. I heard you, I respected you, I don't have to sit through it. Again, it's the same thing. I have the right to peacefully walk away. And also in the same code, accommodation and exemption are granted to people that cannot participate in an activity. I tell you why. Because certain participation, celebration, and promotion means it's a sign of belief. When I celebrate something, when I celebrate Canada Day, I believe that Canada is a great nation and I belong to it, and I believe of the sovereignty of this nation, and I participate in this celebration. Okay, so celebration is a form of expression of belief. Promotion is a form of expression of a belief. Participation is a form of expression of a belief. However, listening, knowing, awareness is not expression of belief. So you made me aware, you made students aware, that's it. Then we respectfully say, okay, I am aware, but I'm not going to participate because that shows that I believe in what you're promoting or what you're presenting. So again, we just need to distinguish between belief and respect.
Okay. I want to apologize from all the comments that I have because I might skip some, but this is Gharib Dar, is a father of 8. He's saying instead of building more mosques, maybe you should start building schools and stuff. Anyway, so I will leave it in the English side if that's okay. I mean, unless you want to go by comment, that's totally up to you. It's your guess. It's your call.
يعني أنا my answer to this, جزاك الله خير يا غريب الدار وحفظك الله وحفظ أولادك. يعني people are trying their best to build schools, but it's not easy and it's very costly, and we understand the challenge. So inshallah it will become easier soon.
Okay, you have one face, and that's from a friend, obviously, who knows you. A greeting from السيد الحليس.
أهلا وسهلا.
So when he said you have one face, does that mean other people have multiple faces?
Let him explain it.
Let it explain it. Okay.
Explain it. Jazakallah khair, Abu Ahmed. I miss you, man. It's been a long time. Inshallah, we'll visit you in Calgary soon.
Okay. Again, Hania says respect, but we do not accept individual choice. Okay, let's move on. I mean, let's try to take one. I mean, okay. We have a comment here said this discussion makes sense. Thank you, Hiba, and I really hope if anybody has any questions, try to use the presence of this knowledgeable person with us. We're so delighted. Personally, I'm delighted that you're here, and I really appreciate your time. So let's go to Asma. So here you go. A few times there are those who try to impose these ideas on our children. This is a difficult month for us because of what they offer. Okay, should leave. I think that's just saying her opinion. If you want to comment, that's all up to you.
Oh, absolutely. Parents have the right to protect their children. They have the right to pass on their religious beliefs as per the Supreme Court of Canada's decision. So we respect that.
Okay, we have Ali, Yad Ali, California Bill AB 957. It's according to consider parents' affirmation of the child gender identity when making decision about visitation and custody. How do you know they will not do this here? I think that's what he.
I'll tell you what.
Leave a comment.
If people don't stand up, so let me make it simple. As it is right now, the Supreme Court of Canada's decision is on the parents' side.
Okay.
And it's fair to everybody. We have an excellent judicial system, clear constitution, and it's fair to everyone as it is right now. However, the squeaky wheel gets the oil first. If we don't stand up and make sure that we're asking for our rights, they might get eroded. Even in a democracy, your rights might get eroded because in a world of competing rights, and we live in a world of competing rights in Canada. Canada, it's beautiful in its multiculturalism. However, it's also sensitive because multiculturalism entails conflicting rights, competing rights, colliding rights. People believe in something right that is wrong for others. And this is just the nature of the multicultural society that we live in. So guess what? If one group push more for their rights that are conflicting with other groups, the other groups will end up in a situation that their rights are being eroded. So here I say to all parents, do not let this happen. Do not let this happen. Ask for your rights. Even if it's there and it's granted, you still have to stand up, remind yourself, and remind others of your rights. Otherwise, because the law develops, policies are made every day. So there could be a policy that's created that will start conflicting. The Constitution is protected. So I tell everybody this. There could be policies and laws that are non-constitutional. It is possible. However, they will make it through the parliament. But once they hit the first case, if it's taken to constitutional court, it could get dropped there. So be careful. Don't sit down dormant. Make sure you're always standing up, reminding yourself and others that you have rights. Otherwise, they could get eroded.
And I think there's another question that goes to Iyad, but I'm going to ask it when his turn's next for commenting. But we both agree, I think, what's going on in the U.S. that not really necessarily it's a mandatory is going to happen as well in Canada. We do understand there's a lot of similarities, but we have completely different political systems. So if we're going to say if it happens in the US, it's a must, it's an eminent, it's going to happen in Canada, I think that will be also not fair to say, because Canadian political system is a bit different, or not really a bit. We are Canadian and we have our constitution, as you said. So my point is, if it happened in the US, that doesn't mean it will happen in Canada. Are we agreeing? Do you agree on that?
I would want to agree that it is possible. Why? Because what happens around us, for example, we like always to study the British case. We always believe that in the UK, they're ahead of us. So usually, and I've been following this for 10 years, when it comes to parents' rights and children's protection programs, we believe that the UK, whatever they do, we follow their footsteps. So it is possible on certain issues, positions taken in neighboring countries like US is, we have a lot of ties with the US, and there are organizations that are cross-boundary. I'll give you an example. I've been getting complaints from exercises and resources used in Canadian schools that came from US organizations. So it is possible. Again, if we don't stand up and remind ourselves and others that we have rights, that, a movement in the US could overflow to Canada and demand the same thing and, eventually get the same policies. It is possible.
Yeah. Okay. We do have a few questions, but all related to, I can summarize it in two things. First, Iyad said, thank you for answering my question. And also Hiba and Iyad says this questions. So does that mean you agree about the protesting? I mean, so do you agree we should be protesting? And the other one from Hiba said, so those protests again forcing gender identity are legitimate? And these are the two questions from two comments.
Are the protests legitimate? Is that the question?
The question is, are these protests legitimate? / Iyad saying, do you agree about? Are you in agreement with the right with the people protesting for this cause?
Peaceful protests are granted by law and our constitutional rights. People, because this is a form of expression. You know, you're expressing your opinion. So if the protest is within the civil and peaceful way of expressing your opinion, absolutely. I am inviting. I'm not just agreeing. I'm saying remind yourself and remind others. And protest is the form of reminder. Done peacefully, no violence, no flag burning, no promotion of hatred, no attacks. Absolutely. If we are bounded by these boundaries and this frame, yeah, I definitely support protest as a form of expressing one's opinions and one's belief, done with respect and without any attacks. It's legitimate, and I support it for sure.
Okay. So as long as the protest is within the boundaries of the law, that's something you agree.
Yes, and respect is one of those boundaries, meaning no attacks, no public promotion of hatred, no violence. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay. I want to take this long comment and I'll leave it to you and to our viewers as well to read, because this is such a long comment. But I would like you to respond to that as well. Perhaps I should explain that one of the things about being Canadian is what we affirm and celebrate one another. So go ahead. The rest is yours.
Affirm and celebrate one another's special days and times and cultures.
Yes.
And we celebrate, do not believe in the religion, nor are we part of the cultures we celebrate. I celebrate Ramadan with greeting and and I will go to Friday feast or Eid feast, but it does not mean I'm a Muslim. I celebrate First Nation special days, and I can assure you I am not First Nation. I think we have a problem in understanding the word celebrate, Doug. Celebrate, you're not celebrating, you're greeting your neighbors, and you know this is very kind of you. The word celebrate has a different meaning to a lot of people. Celebrate means believing, and if we want to get into a debate, does it mean believing or not? And for example, let me ask you, Doug, if I don't know if you're part of the LGBT community or not, but if you are an LGBT community and someone is celebrating, for example, an event about celebrating God's creation of only male and female, would you participate in that celebration? And I don't know what community you belong to, but I bet you that you will not celebrate. You'll actually protest that celebration. So when that celebration, and this is the point here, Doug, if that celebration conflicts with your belief, and this is what we're saying here as a Canadian, if a celebration conflicts with my belief, I'm not obligated to celebrate. If it doesn't conflict with my belief, then fine. So even for the LGBT community, if someone is celebrating God's creation of male and female only, you will not celebrate, you'll protest. So this is all what we're saying. You don't have to celebrate what conflicts with your belief, because you're not obligated to change your belief. So I hope that's clear, Doug, on what I just explained.
Okay, thanks, Firas. And I think Doug, he's a good debater. He might also come back with more questions. Anybody
Sure.
have any questions? By all means. I wanna address one concern that I'm hearing, that these protests somehow, and I'm not here to defend either side, because by the way, I want to make it clear, both sides are mad at me because I'm not so-called like, oh, say, okay,
You're
this
not taking sides.
okay, I made a video for almost 2 hours and I said what I believe in. So whomever want to know what I believe in, it's already in 2 hours, but that's your time. And I really am trying to make this debate about the community and different perspective, because I don't think we have a lot of debate like this that's taking place. Um, um, so I don't know if it happens in Ontario or not, or in Ottawa, because there was a protest in Ottawa. We're not going to talk about what's going on in the US, because in my opinion, as much as important as for us, but let's talk within the boundaries of Canada. Do you feel, or do you think that these protests somehow is increasing hate?
Again, the Supreme Court of Canada says um, refusing to participate should not mean it's intolerance or hate. So if people want to turn this into a message of hate, this is a personal opinion. When I say, again, if adhering to my faith is hate, then we have a serious problem on hand. And I'm saying this again. If I, as a Canadian, request to follow the dictates of my sincerely held belief, which is granted by the Constitution, if that's hate, then we need to go back to the drawing table and redefine a lot of things. So, again, I have the right to believe or not to believe. No one has the right to tell me if you don't believe it's hate, and the Supreme Court of Canada supported this in its decision.
So the way I understood it as a listener to you is, we respect, but we don't have to believe. But also, on the other hand, we will not accept any side, any form of hate from anybody to anybody else.
Refusing to participate should not be viewed as hate. That's what I'm saying. Refusing to participate or celebrate should not be viewed as intolerance or hate. Unless I come directly and say directly, you know, expressions of hate, just refusing to celebrate or participate should not be viewed as a hate message.
Okay. I have a lot of questions, but I need to somehow squeeze it all in the right. So here you go. Let's talk about. I want to move to the third portion of my or our talk, is what's next. There's a lot of talk in I don't know if you know, in Alberta we had an election back in May. There was a lot of things said and done between which party is this, which party is that, and all the stuff. But thank God we're not talking politics tonight, and I appreciate that part, that we're making it so clear. This is not about politics or party this or party that. So, but as a community, and you outlined the stand from your perspective, and also that supported by the scholars. So, and we put it under a general understanding of the Muslim community in general about these issues. Now, here you go. What is the next step? What is after the protest now? We're protesting, or people protested. We made our voice heard, and people aware. New York Times writing articles left, right, and center. National Post is writing about it. So somehow the nation is start talking about it. Okay, as a Muslim Canadian who said to you, "Okay, Firas, we protested 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Okay, so what? What's this?"
City News.
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
Okay.
What's the next step with all these protests?
Yes.
I want to remind you and remind your respected viewers that in Edmonton, we have a Muslim child that was verbally abused, humiliated, yelled at,
Yes.
because he peacefully refused to participate. I want to remind you and remind your respected viewers that we have a lot of Muslim students that are subjected to the same treatment every single day.
Where there's more, we know it's gotta be. If there's one, there must be.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I want to question, where is the hate? Who's showing hate? So our Muslim students are experiencing hate. And I remind everybody, this is Islamophobia.
It is.
And I believe Muslims are the most subjected to hate crimes, Islamophobia, and fatalities.
Okay.
And we're talking in June, which is the month where the Afzal family in London were murdered.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So my question is, who is subjected to hate? And I tell you, Sam, here, we are trying to push back hate. And it seems like you said, people are supporting us and we're not supporting back. I don't see support. I see hate. What's next? What's next is we're trying to defend ourselves from hate. We're trying to defend ourselves from Islamophobia. Our kids are subjected to Islamophobia in schools. Our kids are subjected to hate because they're following their religion. It's the exact same thing happening to Muslim members that were murdered on the streets because they are manifesting their religion. They're girls wearing hijab, men wearing a religious attire. They're being murdered for it. Same thing in schools. Our children, for manifesting their religion and adhering to their belief, are being subjected to hate. Should we sit down and do nothing about it? No. People need to stand up and ask for their rights, remind themselves and others that we have rights that are protected by Constitution, and we want to make sure the government is aware, schools are aware that please do not cross this boundary. So people need to keep talking about it, need to continue raising their voices to protect their rights.
Yeah. I just have to clarify one thing. I'm a witness that so many people support Muslim communities with their struggle and against Islamophobia from all different walk of life, including the LGBTQ. So I know there's people who supported us to combat racism, Islamophobia, and the street.
But I want to remind you that the Islamophobia happening in school is coming from the gender theory and is coming from the celebration of the LGBTQ community. Are we seeing now some sort of a colliding rights between the LGBTQ community and the Muslim community? Are we seeing homophobia and Islamophobia getting head to head? Is that what we're seeing? So this is very, very critical. We need to be smart about it.
Yeah, we should. And also,
so when you tell me I am witness of LGBTQ members supporting Islam, I'm telling you it's the LGBTQ activities that are causing Islamophobia in schools now. So what do you say about this?
I'm not saying supporting Islam. What I'm saying is they supported the fight against Islamophobia.
But it is exactly the LGBT activities in schools are the cause of Islamophobia right now in schools. So it's critical. I know it
is critical.
It's not easy. So when we say we're supporting you, why aren't you supporting us? Well, it is this activity that's causing Islamophobia in schools now. So we need to be very smart on managing competing rights, on managing colliding rights, on managing differences, on managing different beliefs. We need to be very smart about it. Let's stay balanced and let's remain respectful. That's all what we're saying.
Great. And also, to be fair also to what happened in Edmonton, as we all condemn what happened to that student by that teacher who've been being reviewed, but also we also have to acknowledge that the school literally made a statement and made it so clear that whatever that teacher said, that literally does not represent the views of the schools or the teachers, and that teachers are under review. And I think we both read this, and we both acknowledge that that was that was the stand of the school. So it's not like the school did that; it was individual who did that, and we just want to be fair to the.
But I have to come back to you and say this is happening every day in multiple schools, and we haven't heard any apologies. The only reason why the school apologized is because this one was recorded and it made a public opinion. It went viral, right? So that one isolated apology was because it went viral. Did we hear any more apologies?
Not on this matter, no. There's a few questions by Kamal. I'll let you read them, but it's up to you if you want to answer that or not, because I feel it doesn't say this is Kamal Kaswani. And if you don't mind, I'm going to skip that. You can answer that after.
I didn't see the question.
Okay, I will move to Muhammad SN. In my opinion, the problem is not here. Let's put this Muhammad, I think here. In my opinion, the problem is not that they are seeking support or assurance of the LGBTQ. It goes beyond that. Okay, I don't understand. I don't know if that means. Let me put the second one here. It takes only 10 seconds to remind the people that everybody is protected under the Constitution. I don't know if you grasp what Muhammad trying to say, because I didn't. I'll leave it back here to you.
No comments.
Okay, no comment. Okay. All right. So go back to the topic or to the questions. What's next, Firas? I'm a Muslim Canadian. I have a kids, which I'm just saying hypothetical here. I'm worried. I'm thinking, because it's really I start to hear like, oh, we should move, we should leave, we should this, we should that. People are literally. I would say there's a fear, panic, anger. I don't know if you agree to these three words: fear, panic, anger. Do you sense that, or just me sensing that?
Sure. Parents have the right to feel very fearful. They have the right to feel anger when schools are offering students a lot of things that parents need to know about. Parents have, for God's sake, a few years ago, schools are not allowed to give a slice of pizza to students without getting parents' consent. Now they're discussing sex reassignment surgeries without parents' consent. So yeah, I think parents have the absolute right to feel angry that they're being excluded from major decisions, although based on family law, they are the authority when it comes to their children's education, health, and all decisions related to children. It's a responsibility of parents. Are schools trying to strip parents away from their rights? This is, I think, definitely very troubling to a lot of parents. So what's next? Let's go back to basics. What's next? Let's give parents their rights. What's next? Let's not infringe on parents' rights and violate their rights. Simple as that. Parents are mad, and they have all the right to be mad because their rights are being violated. So I really don't understand how is it that a group called parents, they're attacked, their rights are violated, and they were slapped on their face, and now they're screaming from pain, and someone is saying, oh wow, why are you screaming? Why are you screaming? We just slapped you on your face. Why are you screaming? Why did you slap me on my face? Stop slapping me and I will stop screaming. So back off from infringing on parents' rights, back off from violating parents' rights, and they won't be screaming, and then we'll all go back to a happy arrangement where everybody respects everybody. But once we cross the boundaries of respect, people have the right to express their pain.
Okay. I want to put this comment here for you. These acts and calls to violence targeting the LGBTQ plus community reflect a growing trend of hate in Canada. Go ahead. The rest is yours.
Sorry, April, but I don't think anybody's calling for violence. I think if you go back and watch the entire interview, and Sam will attest to it now, I said, express your opinion within the proper boundaries of peace, respect, no violence. And I say it again, disclaimer, please, everybody that hears me, express your opinion. You're entitled to express your opinion without the call for violence, without promoting hate, without attacks. Be courteous, be respectful, defend your rights. I say it and I mean it, and I stick to it. Nobody's calling for hate and violence. And I remind you, April, it's the Muslim students that are subjected to hate. And it's the Muslim students that are experiencing Islamophobia in school. It's the Muslim students that are paying the price right now. And they also have the right to live without hate. And if April did not listen to the recording of the teacher, uh, 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 um, um, violating the right of the Muslim, humiliating the Muslim students, April, please let me share that recording with you. And I want you to listen to how the teacher was talking to the Muslim student. And you tell me, April, if you're happy about that treatment, if you would accept it on yourself. So, and then we can continue our talk.
I think April also added this is like a global extremic.org. Okay. Far right groups LGBTQ. Okay. I don't know. I never heard that one before.
Again, we're going back to the accusation of far rights and accusation. You know what? How about you call us terrorists, April? Yeah, maybe you can let's see your next message saying Muslims are terrorists. Maybe this is what you want to resort to at the end. You're again resorting to political accusations, and you know what? It's easier to say Muslims are terrorists and they don't accept anybody. Let's go back to Islamophobia, and then I don't know where the support goes now. Sam was defending and saying, "I've seen support," and now all what I'm seeing is attack. I'm seeing calling us having political agenda, calling us far right. Well, don't go to the far right. You know, call us terrorists. It's easier, and then let's settle this as Islamophobia again. Let's go back to square one. If we're defending our rights, we want to be called terrorists now. Maybe this is what's going to come next.
I think this is a little bit too far. Anyway, I live in Edmonton.
No, it's not going too far, Sam. If someone is calling Muslims moving to the far right, the next step is calling them terrorists. So we don't want to be wishy-washy with this. We've experienced this for so long in Canada. We've been called terrorists for so long in Canada for defending our rights. If someone is calling Muslims moving to the far right, the next step is calling Muslim terrorists. So we see this coming.
But unless till they call us terrorists, then we can say this. You cannot assume that's what's going to happen.
No. It's not assumption, Sam. We have history of Islamophobia that goes back before before September 11. This is not assumption. This is reading history and repeating history. It's not an unreasonable assumption. We're learning from history, Sam.
No, we do. I do agree with that, but also we have to say after 9/11 that the Islamophobia had to like quadruple, maybe by like 1,000-fold. So what I'm trying to the actions always increase or decrease that these Islamophobia stuff. Anyway, let's move to Ali Jum'a. Thanks, Ali. I live in Edmonton, and we have established a committee to work on the strategy to help our kids and their parents to be protected from the LGBTQ plus ideology. Is that something you think way forward?
Again, the Supreme Court of Canada said respect and don't believe, meaning if someone is forcing a belief on us and the gender theory is a belief, the Muslim community has the right to strategize on how to work on helping Muslim students protecting their belief. Protecting their belief means making it clear on what's accepted and what's not. So absolutely, they have the right to protect their belief.
Okay, I like this question. I'm going to pass it on to you. That doesn't mean that I don't like the other question, but I really, the timing is just like we have to be very selective now. Is this a failure on the part of the Muslim parent to teach their kids haram and halal so that when kids go to school and are exposed to different ideas, they can answer them?
Is this a failure on part of Muslim parents not teaching? Um, Mr. Amir, you're talking about children here. You teach them. Children are more influenced by their environment, and the exposure 8 hours in school surpasses the amount of teachings they get at home. It's the time, it's the techniques, it's the tools, it's the experience. So is it a fair grounds of the couple of hours spent at home, and most likely they're spending it on their devices, as opposed to the activities and the professional environment they have in school when it comes to presenting information? Yes, I would agree that parents have to do a lot more, because it is a conflict in ideology between schools and home. If we have compulsion, if schools maintain the fair ground of presentation and not indoctrination, presentation and not compulsion, then yeah, maybe parents don't have to be as alert. But now, when we see the imbalanced way of presenting information, uh, parents have to gear up. They have to gear up, and they have to, live up to the game and do more and spend more time with their kids. I agree. But as it is right now, school by far are more powerful when it comes to presenting information in a way that will influence anybody living under this flow of information 8 hours a day.
Okay, there's a few comments from April. I'll leave it to you to reply to it if you have time on your own. The language of April. Okay, we're not gonna go to a personal debate here.
I didn't see the comment.
Okay, okay. So anyway, April. I mean, again, she's questioning here where or anyone call you a terrorist. So I think she's anyway. You can go back to this comment. I don't want to just make the topic about you and her. No one is calling us. Right? Okay, sorry, but I do really have to scan quickly through this comment. I have request for Kamil Kaswani. Please keep your comment a little bit like yani, not too offensive to everyone. Because again, I mean, Facebook has the policies and we have to abide by that. So please just be respectful of the page as much as you can. And I don't want to delete any comment, but please help me out to keep this page healthy as well, because this is I want to do that. Okay. Okay, I think exactly environment. Okay, so this is the same people. They have multiple questions, but I think we can wrap it up this way. So, Firas, we're almost an hour and 18 minutes, and I don't know what you're up to after this one. And do you think there's a lot to talk about, but also we have to be. I will have to respect your time, and you have a long day. The plan was to talk in English and talk in Arabic, and I feel there's a lots of need to speak in Arabic as well. But as I said, I think maybe the time is running a little bit late for you. I really would like to get like a roadmap forward for you. If people come, if I call you, I said, okay, we want to put a game plan. What's after the protest? And yes, I'm repeating the same questions, but because maybe I'm not getting it yet. So I just give me like really in summary where this protesters / community members who are really share these concerns, where they should go now. What's the next step? Where are we going to do with this energy / if I can call it anger, because I really think this is where a lot of emotions on the street these days.
If you're holding a stick and you're beating someone up and they're screaming out of anger, what would you do next?
You have to defend yourself.
No, you are attacking a person, beating them with a stick, and they're screaming out of anger, then pushing you back. What is the
Oh,
right thing to do? Stop
as a
the
one,
attack.
as
Stop the
one being,
attack.
stop the
Stop the
attack.
attack. So what I'm saying here is Muslim parents, they feel the attack, they feel the pain, they're screaming out of pain. They did not just make this thing up, and they did not initiate the protest out of nothing. They're being attacked. Their rights are being attacked. The right question is not directed to Muslims. It should not be directed to the people of faith. The right question should be directed to schools and school boards. School boards, be fair. School boards, be courteous. School boards, no compulsion. School boards, adhere to the human rights policy that you're claiming to be compliant with. You're not. You're violating the human rights policy. You're not adhering to the Supreme Court of Canada's decision. Stop attacking Muslim students. Stop attacking. Stop enforcing ideas on students. Everything will go back to normal. So please do not make it sound like Muslim parents are the ones that are causing trouble, that Muslim students and Muslim parents are the one that are initiating this problem, and like April said, spreading hate. They're being attacked. They are under attack, for God's sake. Lift the attack. Let them live peacefully. We don't want to see another Mansour, although we know there are thousands of Mansours that are being humiliated every day in school. We don't want to see this. We're the ones that are being attacked. When we're getting, I'll tell you what, Sam, this is a repeat of Islamophobia at a different level. And I say it powerfully. Muslims are under attack in schools. This is Islamophobia, and I call upon Amira Gawabi in her position to do something about this, because this is another Islamophobia in schools. And now when we rise and say, please stop attacking us, we're being accused of being far right. And next we're going to be accused of being terrorists. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable at all. We have the right to stand up and defend ourselves. We have the right to stand up and say, please stop attacking us. Don't attack our children. Don't force our children. Things will go back to normal. What's going to happen next? I don't know what's going to happen next. School boards need to stop this.
Okay, but
the Ministry of Education in every province, they need to step in and make it fair, because school boards and directors in school boards are pushing their limits. This is what's happening.
Okay, Firas, again, a lot of people who say there's nobody attacking, nobody forcing, but that's a debate we're in. A lot of Muslims feel that they've been attacked. A lot of Muslims feel like they've been forced. And again, as I said, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but that's how you and so many other people view it, because the other side might say it's not. There's nobody's forcing nothing. It's just like the system is working for everyone, and it's up to you to participate or not to participate. But again, the whole debate is about the word of forcing and not respecting the values of others. Okay, I have to. I think we should. I think if I don't know. I think we answer most of the questions. I'll leave the last word to you, Firas. It's been very interesting talk. And if anybody has any, like, I might take one last question while he's putting his closing statement, and then we'll finish with this. I really apologize, because I said it's going to be a half in English, half in Arabic.
It's okay, Sam. I know a lot of people want to discuss this and hear more, and I'll be more than happy to continue with you till the morning. But I am toasted. That's it. I've had a very long day. I had 3 events, and this is the 4th one. So I'll be more than happy to, maybe let's do it over a weekend, early in the morning, so it'll be easier on me. I have nothing to add. I think I said all what I have to say. I thank your audience. And for your audience, April and Doug, I thank you very much for your comments. I'm just asking you to be fair and know who's the one that's being a victim in this story. Who's the one that's being attacked in this scenario? It is the Muslim parents. And if you want to be fair, you should say stop pressuring Muslim students. And this is how you be fair. And I hope everybody will go back to the fair plane of respect and courtesy, and respecting each other's choices, and not pushing each other to change their beliefs or abandon their faith. This way, we'll all be happy and we'll continue with the beautiful multicultural society, the mosaic that we have. Let's not ruin it. Let's not ruin it by pressuring each other. We want it to stay peaceful and calm, because this is how we all enjoy our life and feel proud of our own beliefs, and feel safe that our kids are protected in school. Now people don't feel safe to send their kids to school. People are worried about the mental health of their kids, not just mental, even physical. Physical. So this is very difficult on parents. And I'll end with this.
No, I would like you to answer that one, because my friend Ihab says, I hope Sam can be fair too. So the question is to you, do you think I was fair in my debate with you today, or my conversation? Please, you're one face, right? So go ahead.
Sam, I appreciate you playing the neutral role. It is fair for you as a host to play a neutral role. Yes, you are a member of the Muslim community, and people expect you to have an opinion for the Muslim community. But if you want to play your role as a host to be neutral, then it's fair to be neutral.
Was I fair to you or no?
No. You were fair. I mean, you brought different ideas. You brought different people in. And I don't think you were promoting any side or supporting any side. This is my fair evaluation.
Your friend Abu Ahmed, he doesn't think I'm fair, but that's fine. So we're going to leave it at that. But I really think, Abu Jihad, we do need, there's a need for this kind of dialogue.
I would love to.
Within our community, and also with the larger community, because I think we all are going to be better off if we talk more. Thank you very much. And you have a wonderful, wonderful good night. Thank you very much, Firas.
Thank you very much for all your audience. Have a great night.
الله يخليك. شكرا جزيلا. الله معك. السلام عليكم. And for all the audience, sorry والله we should do in Arabic, but I'm going to say السلام عليكم and have a wonderful good night. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow at the protest. Take care. السلام عليكم.